So I looked at coming to Nashville as this is going to be like a transition for me to get the hell away from a bad thing. And I courted, I sought out, I got on a plane, got a cab, went to the Jarrett's office in Hendersonville, Tennessee many times before they finally said, we'll give you a shot. And ironically, I live 10 minutes from Hendersonville, Tennessee now in a hospital, in old, well, I won't say where I live, but, it's so interesting how things just turn around, but no, nobody saw me. I beat the door down. It's a business. I just kept saying I'm the right person for the job. And I'm so glad and grateful that Jeff and Jerry gave me that opportunity. Very, very, very grateful.
What was one of the most surprising things like entering into the pro wrestling business? Like, obviously you'd been in the entertainment business for years. Was there much difference you found, like, from the entertainment to the wrestling business?
Yeah. Everything that I did was paid a lot of money. So it was micromanaged and, produced to the hills. Like, I was a 8-year-old kid getting a check for $300,000. What I had to do for that was micromanaged. You had people coming in there and telling you to breathe this way and to hold chicken this way, or Kentucky Fried Chicken or Dairy Queen or Pepsi or Coke. It's like, you did this, you did that. You held the little piece of chocolate in the wrapper. Just so, wrestling, you get in there and they just throw you to the wolves. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no direction. Nobody helped me. They were too busy. It was the wild, wild west back in the TNA days. Nobody knew what was going on. They just said, go out there, which actually worked to my advantage. I got a chance to play neurotic characters and rich people and schizophrenic bitches and do all this crazy stuff. And so, on one hand, no direction. And on the other hand, you run with it. I was constantly going to management, to the office, to Vince, to Jeff, to Jerry, saying, what about this? What about this? What about this? And every single time, 100% of the time, they just green lighted it. Go, whatever you want to do. Nobody ever said, don't do that, or I don't like that idea. Not once did they ever veto an idea. Every single idea, they ran with it and they milked it for all it was worth. It was great.
Did you ever find it, like, obviously coming in, being an outsider from the wrestling business, that those people that are a bit weary, or was it all welcoming? Obviously,
nah, everybody was super cool. Everybody was super cool to me. Again, they weren't weary because they were worried about their own garden. They were tending to their own shit. Yeah. Like, everybody was just so wrapped up in them. And that's why I didn't get a lot of help from people, because they're just want to keep their job. A lot of these guys are driving all night to get there and they're making $50 or nothing. They just want to, they're doing a dark match. They just want their spot on TV. It's not like there's a bunch of, places to go in wrestling. Now there's more than ever. There's TNA, there's Impact, there's, AWA. What is it? AEW? I say AEW. AEW all the time. AEW. There's what's the other one?
Ring of Honor.
Yep. There's
New Japan. It's everywhere.
There's lots of different things that you could go and do. There's different ways to promote yourself. There wasn't back then. Back then you could record an album and you couldn't put it out and stream it like you can now, but you could get a record deal a lot easier than you could get a spot in wrestling in a promotion.
Did you ever want to get in there and start having matches and competing every week?
Yeah, I did, and I started to train, and everybody I trained with died. Like, Malice was helping me for a while with church and all that, and then he died. Oh. And then, Kurt Hennig was showing me some things, and then he passed. It was just like, so I look at that as like, it wasn't, that wasn't for you. I started to and was interested. Yeah. Now I think I probably would be dead. These guys are all broken bones and they're in so much pain. And you don't talk about stuff like that. They've got concussions. They're messed up. I had a guest that was supposed to be on my podcast the other day and just stood me up. And then I was pissed because I got all ready to, like, if I was trying to find your link, because you contacted me on different platforms and I was like, shit, like, I have it on my calendar and then it's like, it says this. And then I'm like, crap, it's on. I went to the band email. I have 50 emails. So, I was 1 minute late for you, but
that's okay.
I was so excited, and how how time it takes to get ready, and you just hope people show up and don't bag out on you, because it's hard to find guests that are not flaky. And I was so mad at him. And then I just thought his initial thing was, this is how much I charge for podcasts, Goldy. But I'm not going to charge you, but this is why. And he said, I've just been hit so many times. I forget things. And then people ask me questions and I don't remember and I look stupid. Well, then stupid me, because he just told you who he was. He just showed you, to quote Dr. Maya Angelou, when somebody shows you the first time who they are, believe them. Well, he just said, I forget stuff all the time. Sure, he forgot. And then he's probably embarrassed to like, let me know. Like, I can't have heat with somebody when they told me right out of the gate that I have to charge a lot of money for interviews because I forget stuff and I look like an idiot. So at least I'm getting paid when I look like an idiot. He told me he has a problem remembering things. So why should I be so surprised that he stood me up? You know, why did I even make that point? Wrestling. Yeah.
I think, but you know what? I think it's sometimes, you know, like, you know, in doing podcasts, when you are trying to get guests on and you do have that feeling of being stood up, it's like, you know, sometimes you don't actually stop to think of the reason why. Like, you know, the amount of punishment that these guys have had, the bumps and the hits to the head, you know, like it's pretty major. And, you know, you mentioned that, you know, guys that were training you, like, you know, Mace and Mr. Perfect, like, because that was around a time where a lot of guys were passing away in their like mid to late 30s and early 40s, and it was like I can remember it was just literally every couple of months. It was so unfortunate.
You know, and what's just going. And I'm going to tell you what's even more unfortunate is that nobody fucking ever says anything about it. I did. I just said you're drinking, you're taking pills, and you're doing cocaine. Probably not a good idea for your heart. You know, and nobody wanted me around because I'm always the voice of reason. I'm just like, you guys party too hard. And I get it. I get it. You're like, you know, hood rats in the ghetto where you're like, oh, I'm not going to live to be 28. Yeah, well, you know what? Fuck you. Because a lot of people love you and want you, like your families, to live for that long. And I still harbor anger when I see, but I don't harbor anger at myself because I at least said something to them, where everybody else is like letting it fly. It's not.
And that's the thing, like Angel, you know, we discussed this on Wrestling with Tragedy in certain aspects, and one of the things we were talking about was Kerry Von Erich, how he confided in Bret Hart, said that this is how I'm going to go out, and it was literally Bret Hart said, this is what I think. I was like, and no one would get, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one thought, hey, how do we help this guy?
Yeah.
And Angel was going, hey man, in the business, you just sit there and you just put your head down, and it's like, and Angel said, he's like, man, I've seen guys do some weird shit. He goes, but if I turn around and say, hey man, you shouldn't do that. Hey, who the fuck are you, bro? I'm this level of star and you're a fucking nobody. Get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, and you lose your job from that shit.
No, you can't lose your job from, there's a way to say it, but like, I have a column in the Los Angeles Tribune. It's called Goldy's Corner, and they've given me a pretty good platform to just speak my mind. And there's some things that I won't say, you know, just because I would just tear it up. But but there's some things that I do say, you know, and I pick my spots, pick my times. I've got an article coming out in the column just on Rush Limbaugh, who died. And, you know, Rush Limbaugh, love him or hate him, he was feared, and he started conversations and got people talking about politics. We need that more. Whether, again, you don't have to like somebody to get in a conversation and a good discussion of why do you feel this way, and why are your politics this way, and why are your beliefs that way. The more you can understand your neighbor, the better we're going to get along, and the better things are going to be. But like, I remember an article with him just saying like secondhand smoke doesn't do anything, and cigar smoke doesn't do anything, and this and this and this. And he just went on, and it's like this whole pro smoking article. Well, it's like, you died of lung cancer. So don't go out there and use your platform to say, if you want to say, I smoke, I choose to smoke, this is my choice. Is it the best thing? Probably not. But don't go out there and say to people that follow you, like, this is okay. Like, don't ever say that. Yes, he did, Michael. He did open up a lot of eyes for a lot of years. So Rush Limbaugh, heaven, wherever you are, bro, you got heat with me because you told a lot of people that it was cool to smoke. Don't say shit, you know, just say, you know, I swear, I curse. It's not a good idea. You know, I don't go out and say swearing is great.
100%.
You know what I mean? So that article, I'm including it in my article of like, you know, don't just camp out. I'm so tired of everybody like waiting again with just what you just said. You wait until the wrestler or the entertainer or the singer or the whatever is dead. And then it's like, oh, here come the memes and here come all the rest in peace, bro. And then what were you doing when they were living an unhealthy lifestyle? Like, you don't need to be popular every day of your life. Like, get out and say something to somebody. You don't have to lose your job over it. You can just be next to him in the urinal or sitting to him next here or there at lunch or whatever, and just say, I care about you. And it hurts me to see you doing this. And this is why, maybe
And
you should blah,
that's
blah, blah.
100% right. And I think, like it's, for people just to sit there and only buy and watch someone go, it's like you might as well sit there and just pull that trigger yourself at them, like it's
Absolutely.
and good friends and good people will be the ones who'll tell you not what you want to hear all the time, but what you need to hear at that time, and
there's a nice way to do it. There's a nice way to do it. You don't want to just make somebody feel like, they're a piece of crap or something like that. There's a nice way to do it.
Oh, 100%, but, sometimes some people need a little bit of the tough love. And, I think that, when the nice way hasn't worked, the tough love does have to come in. And, there's people that I've known that have needed to have that tough love saying, hey, you need to like either get yourself sorted or like, I have to like step away from you. And that's like being able to sort of know when to say that. That's a fine line as well, especially when you're talking to someone who isn't in that right headspace to begin with.
And I wish the CM Punks, I wish the Christopher Daniels, I'm trying to think of who else was in that. AJ was pretty good about it. There was just a whole troop of guys that would show their face, go out afterwards, do their thing, have a few drinks, and then they headed back to the hotel, to the gym. Like, I wish they would have invited some of those guys that were just all night long coking it out and, doing what they did. I mean, maybe they did, I don't know. I just like, I did